I should say good evening. Respected chairpersons, Chandrika ma'am, my own Vandana ma'am, Shweta ma'am, thank you so much. Warm regards to the eminent fraternity here at Rajkot. I extend my heartfelt gratitude to you, Dr. Sudesha sir, Dr. Neeraj sir, for giving me this opportunity, the whole SOGOG team, to address you all and share my thoughts in this wonderful scientific fair. While I was looking at the program list, there were so many new topics and developments happening, and now it was a boon that I could listen to such beautiful, energetic boys and girls. Our task force, our future, and I hope most of them are staying back to listen to me. True to this, I'm here to present a hypothesis. A hypothesis based on the need of the current times and the changes with the turn of century. Wi-Fi, mobile phone apps, they are all so universal now. Next. What I feel is integrating a remote monitoring of pregnancy and labor model into the existing maternal services infrastructure, using education and new era technology as instruments of safety can improve perinatal outcomes and reduce the maternal mortality rate. This talk is intending to serve two main purposes. One, to raise the awareness about the gravity of the problem of MMR that we are facing. And number two, to promote the vigilance and monitoring as a step towards improving quality of care and reducing the MMR. Big terms, but simple work that I am about to tell you. Next. Let's take a simile. If pregnancy was a plane journey, then every maternal mortality is a plane crash. It's devastating. Preventable maternal mortality is totally unacceptable. Say, what happens when a routine flight runs into bad weather? It is guided by the radio control room remotely. In this day and age, all the information is transmitted to the control room and back to the plane's cockpit so that the pilots are guided to take the plane to safety. Safety measures are in place for the prevention of maternal mortality in our country too. But this high MMR indicates that they are insufficient and ineffective. Next. The United Kingdom Confidential Inquiries into Maternal Mortality, which was published in British Journal, it inferred that almost 40% of the maternal mortality are due to preventable causes. Next. See, do we know that in India, 1 in every 100 women runs a lifetime risk of death due to pregnancy-related causes? While in our immediate neighborhood in Sri Lanka, it is 10 times less. And seeing the other extreme, in Ireland it is 1 in 40,000. Ladies and gentlemen, insight is the first step towards improvement. Education, focus on quality with timely perinatal care, efficient maternal health services, adequate budgeting towards the rural healthcare play a role in avoiding unjustified maternal mortality. Continual process of absorbing, processing and utilizing the scientific advancements have made saving more maternal lives possible in other parts of the world. Lessons need to be learned from them in the larger interest of patient safety. Next. Delivering a baby is no rocket science, is it? Babies have been taking birth since the very advent of human race. Then why this concern? Why do we need an obstetrician anyways? The difference in the good or bad outcomes lies in the presence and severity of the complications. The difference lies in how well we manage and how well we can prevent the complications. Next. So the questions arising have become the basis of this presentation. Are there any lessons we can learn from other specialties? For example, the intensive care medicine, the EICUs are running so as to benefit the patients and ensure reduction in MMR. How are obstetricians as a scientific body utilizing the current advances to the benefit of the parturients? Where is the gap in the maternal health services? What more can be done in this new world of touch screens, smartphones, tablets and computers? How can we realistically implement a model of vigilant care in a safe manner? Next. Ladies and gentlemen, maternal mortality is a process and not just an event. So once the process is interrupted with efficient monitoring, a potential maternal death can be averted. That is perhaps the only way forward in order to reduce the maternal mortality. The focus on today's talk thus is on vigilance. Vigilant and efficient monitoring of the pregnancy and labor process is the key to preventing fetal-maternal casualties. Next. Now coming home to where I come from, I have looked at the maternity services provided in the Hoshangabad district. This is a place spread over 120 kilometers, having a population of more than 12 lakhs. 30% of the population resides in dense forest areas devoid of good connectivity to the city. The shaded area here you can see is all the dense forest areas. Next. Now, despite the fact that there are about 30 centers, including the PHCs, CHCs and sub-centers, which are equipped in conducting deliveries, they deliver just a meager 70 to 80 women per month cumulatively. Rest are all referred to these two centers, the district hospital, Hoshangabad and Janseva Rukhrana Itasi. These are the two centers, two government centers, which caters cesarean section facilities. All of them are referred here. So as a result, they are grossly overloaded, compromising the quality of health care delivered. Next. Now what's happening here is, at the ground level, at the periphery, there is gross shortage of clinical expertise and competent paramedic staff, we all know. Inadequate equipment. As a result, there is lack of motivation and fear of unknown risks involved. Who will take the risk in the periphery? Better call the Janani Express, refer the patient to Hoshangabad. The proposed remote pregnancy and labor monitoring model aims to further optimize the utilization of already existing clinical expertise at the district hospitals using technological services. The focus being on development of a system of vigilance to help avoid avoidable complications. Next. Now there are certain requisites for the implementation of the RPLM. It requires the inclusion of this model into the already existing government initiative to help reduce MMR by supporting the frontline staff with necessary education and equipment, education and training of doctors, nurses and midwives. And most importantly, there has to be an easy availability of monitoring equipment like our Vital's monitor, digital Doppler, USG machine, CTG monitor, specific and comprehensive antenatal software, which is well-paced, so that it can be accessed from anywhere in the world. Hardware, communication media like tablets and smartphones for entering the data electronically. Friends, the best way to predict the future is to create it. It may sound far-fetched, with potentially expensive investments into infrastructure to the unprepared minds. But practicing obstetricians are in the best position to observe and recommend on how to convert this ongoing MMR nightmare into a thing of the past. Undoubtedly, the resultant high MMR in the existing system demands an upgrade. A significant improvement in maternal outcomes will be a direct result of strengthening monitoring and vigilance. A dedicated model for providing remote pregnancy and labor monitoring will be an upgrade into the future and now has become a necessity. Next. Now let's see how it works. Patient safety in the RPLM model is dependent on the data collection right from the first trimester. The moment a girl or a woman conceives and she encounters her immediate health worker, may it be an Anganwadi worker, may it be an ANM, she is registered into the comprehensive antenatal software and her discrete ID is generated. Thereon, preliminary investigations are done, reports are entered, visit to the clinician is made possible, treatment prescribed and made available, the dating scan advised, done and report uploaded, regular monthly visits by the ANM. This is already happening. We are having a very big ANM network. See, every patient that comes to us has had her TT immunization. Am I right or wrong? So if that is possible, why can't this entry of the vitals, the pulse, the BP, the weight, the height of the patient be entered on monthly basis? Fresh complaints are notified and managed. Next. Similarly, in the second trimester, electronic data collection during routine monthly ANM visits, record of clinician's visit and scans, evidence of tetanus immunization, record of prescriptions, information about any relevant medical problem. If she has some medical problem, she has jaundice, she has blood pressure, she has whatever, you want to get her a physician's visit, you can make it available. She can be nicely brought to the physician, the treatment advised and entered in the software. Which date, what treatment was prescribed, and the treatment goes on. Next. Likewise, in the third trimester, documentation of obstetrician visit and management strategy is now formulated with the backdrop of the entry which has been run from the first visit. Mandatory 36-week scan, record of relevant hematological investigations and reports. Next. Now, when the intranatal period starts, RPLM will again guide us forwards, whether it is active or expectant management. Next. So now, the patient is in labor. Labor progression is a dynamic process wherein the baby, considering the cephalic position and all the criteria of trial of labor are fulfilled, the baby descends and rotates around the central axis to finally deliver. At present, the mainstay of assessing the progress of labor and descent is by the per abdomen and PV examinations. These are both subjective parameters and observer dependent. They require a certain degree of expertise, and relaying them to any remote center or person is nearly impossible, least of all digitally. So we tried to devise a method in which the quality of pains could be collated with the labor progress and depicted in a fashion so as to get it electronically entered into the software and make it universally accessible to be read, understood, and the management strategy being directed. So in our model, we have a collation of three parameters. The labor pains, we see the intensity and interval, how long they are lasting in seconds, and what is the interval between two pains, again in seconds. The second one, fetal heart sounds, its rate, Doppler derived abdominal mapping of fetal heart sound, the DAM FHS. This is what we prefer to call it, and I'll explain it later in the next slide. Time at which the point was marked and the time span for this labor process. Next. Okay. Now let me explain this bit about DAM FHS. We agreed